streaming because it takes a bit to kick in.
Thank you. Good evening. It's 7 p.m. I'll begin this town council meeting with a roll call of the councilors. Councilor Anderson.
Present. Councilor Anderson, present.
Councilor Golembeski.
Councilor Golembeski, present.
Councilor Mataronis.
He is just signing in now, Bob. If you give.
Councilor Moore.
Present.
Councilor Mushin is present. We'll wait for Councilor Mataronis to join us for another moment or so.
Bob, I'm on.
Councilor Mataronis is present. All councilors have indicated their presence. There are 5 members of the council present. During this meeting, I would ask that as I ask for a roll call vote, there is no need for you to identify yourself. I will name you and your vote then would be following that. For example, if I say Councilor Mushin, aye, and I respond aye, then that is, you don't need to repeat your name. First item of business tonight is to acknowledge filing of prior meeting minutes for 6 meetings that have not yet been voted upon by the council. These are for March 5th and 16th, April 9th, 21st, 28th, and 30th. Those minutes have all been filed with the Secretary of State and are on the website. I would ask if there are comments on any of those minutes, and then I would ask for a single motion to acknowledge filing. Are there any comments?
Councilor Mataronis, motion to approve.
Councilman Moore, second.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve all the filing of all 6 minutes. Is there any further? Is there any further discussion?
Councilor Anderson, let me see. I'm looking through these, and I think the most recent one on April 30th does not include the, or maybe I'm not, the one where we adopted last week the emergency declaration. I'm trying to see where it starts here. It's noted that I don't see a date on that, on those minutes. That is, it doesn't say what the date of the meeting was, unless I'm not looking at the beginning of the.
You may not be looking at the beginning.
No, I take that back. I take that back. I see it. It's at the bottom of the page. I'm sorry. I see it now. Okay.
Thank you. Are there any further discussion? I'll conduct a roll call vote for approval of the motion. The motion is to acknowledge filing of 6 sets of prior meeting minutes. Councilor Anderson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Golembeski.
Aye.
Councilor Mataronis.
Aye.
Councilor Moore.
Aye.
Councilor Mushin votes aye. There are 5 ayes. The motion carries. Thank you. The next item is announcements. I have none. Are there any other announcements by any of the councilors? Hearing none, we'll move to the department head reports. Let me also note that you have in front of you 5 department head reports: town clerk, police, fire, treasurer, and assessor. I would ask again that we provide comments on any of those that any councilor wishes to raise, and then I would entertain a motion to place these reports on file. Let me also add that the town administrator's comments are part of what we will entertain in a few minutes, the report from him and myself as to actions taken.
Councilman Mataronis, I'll make the motion to approve all 5 in one shot.
Councilor Golembeski, I'll second the motion to place them on file.
Motion has been made and seconded to place the 5 department head reports on file. Is there any further discussion? I'll then take a roll call of the motion. Councillor Anderson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councillor Golembeski.
Aye.
Councillor Mataronis.
Aye.
Councillor Moore.
Aye.
Councillor Mushin votes aye. All 5 votes are aye. The motion carries. We'll next move to old business. The first item of old business is 2 COVID-19 updates and matters for review. The first of those is the memo forwarded by myself and on behalf of the town administrator of actions we have taken during the period from April 4th through April 30th under the provisions of the emergency declaration, which you authorized on March 16th and reasserted on April 30th. Are there any comments on that memo or questions?
Councilman Mataronis, just a question.
This is a
When will we be able to do the interviews for the finance director? Will they be ready to be interviewed by the council for the next council meeting, or is that going to be a hiring process by the town administrator?
Why is he asking that?
I'll ask the administrator to answer that.
We've already did a screening process for our 5 candidates. We will be setting interviews and then refer to the council the 2 or 3 candidates for your review and also interview as well.
Would that be before the next council meeting, or would it be a separate evening interview process?
It could be before a council meeting. However, you will not be able to do that. We plan to do the interviews on the 28th. So we're looking into June.
Very good. That was my question. Thank you.
Are there any
Councilman Mataronis.
Are there any other questions with respect to the memorandum?
this is Councilmember Anderson.
If there's no other questions,
Councillor Anderson,
Wait.
excuse me. Councillor Anderson has a question.
oh,
Bob, I'm not sure this is appropriate on our agenda, but in your memo, one of the matters you cite is continued daily participation in briefing the governor, municipal leaders, and League of Cities and Towns. I wanted to note that today you participated in, as did some of the others of us, a discussion about prospects for financial town meeting in your emergency capacity at the moment. And you can tell me if I'm out of order here, but I'm wondering if you might consider convening some kind of working group in your emergency capacity of interested officials to sort of be scoping the alternatives for financial town meeting, prior to our next meeting. So it is an emergency situation. That's why we're having to deal with this. So I just offered that as a thought.
The point is well made and well taken. I think that we should do that. By way of summary, the decisions reached today were fairly broad in terms of the options and alternatives that are going to be considered. And so I would suggest that as a core group, yourself, the clerk, myself, and the town administrator be the core of that, and any other, and the moderator as well. And then those 5 would solicit inputs from others in order to bring us to a little competent position on what we think is in our best interest with respect to financial town meeting.
I think that's wise because I don't think we can depend on a prompt guidance from elsewhere. I think we're going to have to be working on our own to come up with something. So I think that would be a good plan. Thank you.
That'll be my intention. Then just to give a sense of this, there is a host of reasons why people feel that we ought to, by people, I mean other municipalities, including our own, feel that we ought to take a wide-ranging set of options and ask the governor and the legislature for broad authority to do a host of things in order to not leave something out, as opposed to mandate, here's how you will do your financial town meeting. So that seems to be consistent with our position, and I think will be helpful as we move forward. So I will take that for action as under the emergency ordinance to convene such a group.
Thank
Is
you.
there any further discussion then?
If there's
Councilor
no,
Golembeski, please
yes,
proceed.
if there's no more discussion, I'd like the COVID-19 updates and matter for review to be placed on file.
Council Mataronis seconds.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there further discussion? By roll call, the vote on this motion. Councilor Anderson,
Aye.
Councilor Golembeski,
Aye.
Councilor Mataronis,
Aye.
Councilor Moore,
Aye.
Councilor Mushin votes aye, 5 ayes. The motion carries. Next item related is that outdoor recreational facility disposition. We've had a number of inquiries from citizens and others with respect to the use of courts, that is tennis and basketball particularly, and have instructed through the chair of the Recreation Committee, Mr. McHugh, who I believe may be on this. I don't see him on this.
He is.
Okay, on this call, his direction to, as the scheduler of recreational facilities, is that court users are to comport themselves with rules in effect. At the moment, that is, no more than 5 people may gather in a place, and that social distancing of 6 feet must be observed, that the use of the courts is permitted under those circumstances. So that posting will follow, and I think what it will do is attempt to follow the governor's intention to continue to relax the number, or to increase the number of people who may gather. So it'll be posted that the rules that are currently in effect are the rules that govern the use of the courts. Is there
Council
any?
Mataronis, does Mr. McHugh have any comments on that, or is that well said?
Thank you, Gary. No, that was well said. Thank you, Mr. Mushin. Yeah, following the CDC and Rhode Island Department of Health and the governor. 5 people, 6 feet in distance. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. So that's where we are on that. The next item of old business is guidance for private seasonal campgrounds. This is one where the Department of Business Regulation has informed private campgrounds, of which we have one. That would be the campground on South Shore Road, about which some citizens identified as concerned residents of Little Compton have raised a question. The Department of Business Regulation has advised that campground, Round Meadows, as well as we are advising our own beach commission of the intention of the following kinds of restrictions on the use of campgrounds under the COVID-19 situation. The 2 important elements are only units that are completely independent or self-contained are permitted to stay at a facility or to be occupied at this time, which would say only a camper that is self-contained and able to provide its own toilet and capture of wastewater and waste products. Only that sort of item would be allowed to be occupied or present on the facility. So that raises a concern both for Round Meadows and for the beach, in the sense that unless an entity comes with basically without the need to use any outside facilities. That is not permitted. The other restriction is that there are quarantine requirements for out-of-state visitors which remain in effect. So someone coming from another state and staying in such a campground must be able to self-quarantine for 14 days in order to be able to use the facility. So that's, again, consistent with the other restriction in the sense that only somebody who could stay someplace for 14 days without leaving the place is able to be there in the first place. So that would say that the facility they occupy has to have that capability.
Council Mushin, this is Council Mataronis. I know there's some people in town that have winter homes. They have cabanas down there. They rent their winter homes out and they move to the cabanas. Are they going to be allowed to utilize the cabanas?
Subject to those requirements, it would appear to me that Round Meadows is obligated to enforce those requirements, having been so notified by the Department of Business Regulation.
Okay, so basically they're going to have to follow the standards that have been set down by the business regulation, Department of Business Regulation. So I guess it's up to each one of them to be able to do social distancing, which I think is possible down there. I just was trying to get an answer because, as I said, there are some people that have winter homes that rent them out, so it affects them. If they can't go to the cabanas, they can't rent their homes out. So I was just trying to get an idea of whether that was yes or no.
Right. I believe you've correctly stated it as I read the restriction. I believe that will cause a change in some people's ability to use those facilities, in that to the extent that they are not able to use them in a way that does not that the facility is not able to accommodate both water supply and toilet is a problem.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mushin.
Councilor Mushin, can I make a notation that you have a resident that has her hand up to speak?
Thanks. I see Perky Nellison's hand up. Please proceed.
Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can, yes, thank you.
Being a resident of Round Meadows in the summer, we have self-contained toilets that capture waste, and then we go and dump the waste. How's that fit in?
Well, I think that meets the intent in the sense that it says the facility must contain, I'm reading now from the DBR requirement, they must contain a water flush, toilet, laboratory, bath, shower, and kitchen sink. Therefore, your facility must be able to provide necessary amenities such as water and dump or pump out stations if necessary. So to the extent that you're able to use those facilities, it appears to me, at least from my read of this, that if you don't have a connection, which is, I think, obvious at Round Meadows, to a sewer or water or electrical system, then you have the capability to take the waste products and get rid of them in a dumping facility that meets the intent of the requirement.
Okay, so that would mean that, excuse me, can I speak again? That would mean
Sure.
that the cabins and the trailers would be allowed to be occupied, but under the guideline of the 14-day quarantine coming from another state. Like for me, driving 3 miles, it would work out for me.
Can
Right.
I correct you there, please? If you
Yes.
further, Bob, if you read further in that number 1 category, the very last sentence says,
Yeah.
therefore, your facility must be able to provide necessary amenities such as water and dump out pumps out stations if necessary. So I'm not
Right.
sure that they're allowing self-contained campers to come and go from the facility. I think the facility needs to provide the pump out ability.
And that's true. That's what happens. The campers don't go to and fro. They go and stay, and then they dispose their waste in a dump out on premise.
On the premises. Oh, okay. Got it.
Right.
I'm corrected.
That's an important distinction, though. It is not sufficient that one takes the trailer out of there to go somewhere else or do something else. It needs to be able to be provided on site, which I think it is for at least some of the residents. Is that right?
Councilman Mataronis, Perky, I was, had you in mind on that, so I hope you got the answer you wanted. I was thinking about you when you leave your winter rental to go down there to make sure that you have be able to do your winter rental for the summer. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Gary. That did. I appreciate it, you asking.
Any further discussion on that matter?
Yeah, Council Golembeski, my only concern with Round Meadows is, are there still communal showers down there? Are those still there?
No. Everybody has their own shower.
All right, then that was my only concern. I remember there used to be, I could see everybody going to the showers after a day at the beach, and that could present a problem right there.
There is communal toilets. Like if you wanted a real flush toilet, there's a bank of those.
That might be an issue. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
This is Councilmember Anderson. I would, as I'm looking at these regulations, I would urge Perky and other property owners or users down there to, if we can provide it, get this document to those people so that they can read it themselves, because it's pretty thorough, and there are other restrictions in here that may raise some questions for the people who use that. So I don't know how we can do that for her and others, but
there's the owner that can disseminate that.
Well, it is included in the council packet for this evening that's on our website.
Well, and that we've discussed it. That will take some doing for some people to find. I don't know if we can separate this document or something in a way that people can link to it, that we can provide to Perky somehow, and others who are listening.
Well, I can certainly forward it to her, Larry.
I think that would be useful for her to see the scope of the restrictions herself.
Right.
Good.
So we'll make it available through the clerk's office. Should we'll send one to you, Perky, and then we'll also make it available to others who may wish to get a copy of it in order to read it for themselves. The management of Round Meadows should be in receipt of this document as well. So it should be available through both paths.
Good.
All right. Any further discussion on that? Our next item of old business is a letter dated March 5th, received from the United Congregational Church asking permission to hold their annual summer fair. Based upon the governor's sequence that she has outlined and is moving us through, I would anticipate that by the second weekend of July, we will be little further down the path, certainly not down the path to an extent that the summer fair would be able to be held. I base that upon her decision already that the Bristol 4th of July parade is not able to occur. So I would say to the United Congregational Church, I don't anticipate the relaxation will be sufficient by the normal time of the scheduling of this event to be able to approve it. Or other comment or question on that?
Council Mataronis, should we approve it contingent upon the state regulations being relaxed, or if not relaxed, they wouldn't be able to have it that way? It wouldn't have to come back to the council again, but it would be contingent upon the state regulations from Governor Raimondo, as she's the one that's got the handle on all this stuff. But it would be approved by the town of Little Compton contingent upon that. Would that be satisfactory, or would you just outright want to shut it down?
Well, to respond to that, I don't, Councilor Mushin, I don't anticipate or I don't intend to quote, shut it down, but I would say that we could, as a minimum, table it at this point. But I think we need to send a clear signal that we don't anticipate, based on what we see right now, that it's likely that they should continue to plan on it. And the reason I say that is because I see little flex in the direction that we're headed.
This is Councilperson Moore. Has anyone heard from Reverend Marshall or anyone from the United Congregational Church? Because this is from March 5th, so maybe their ideas about the church there have changed since then.
I have spoken to her, but not about this subject. My thought by putting it on the agenda was to at least give us the ability to respond back to them.
Okay. Well, maybe we can table it and see what their intentions are for our next meeting.
You all set, Andrew?
Yeah.
Councilor Golembeski, can we hear from the solicitor on this, see what he says? I'm just curious of what his reaction would be if we approve something that we can't approve.
Well, thank you for unmuting me. Round Meadows is a long and torturous history in our town. Many times been to the Supreme Court. So we should certainly look at the history of Round Meadows. The town has reached many agreements with Town Meadows. So that's quite important that we look at that. That's very important. I would ask that whatever vote you just took, it be held in abeyance. Thank you.
I think we're ahead of that. Council Mataronis, I think we're ahead of that. We're talking about the United Congregational Church, whether to approve their request for the summer fair contingent upon Governor Raimondo's decision, or to just table it for a future meeting.
I think he has a bad connection.
Well, I have no problem tabling Council Mataronis. I'll make that motion to a future meeting until we find out what the Congregation Church wants to do.
All right, Councilman Moore, I'll second that.
The motion has been made and seconded to table the request from the Congregational Church for their summer fair. And I will take it upon myself in the other role that I fill in emergency management to advise them of the purpose for the tabling. Is there any further discussion on the motion to table this item?
This is Councilor Anderson. I will support the motion to table. I do think realistically, and this is a spillover from what we've heard with regard to financial town meeting, I just don't think we should provide any indication that this is likely to happen under the governor's comments. She's been pretty disciplined about the things she's offered, and I think the appropriate thing to do is to table it.
Great. I'll then take a roll call vote of the motion to table this item, subject to the comments that have been made. Councilor Anderson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Golembeski.
Aye.
Councilor Mataronis.
Aye.
Councilor Moore.
Aye.
Councilor Mushin votes aye. 5 ayes. The motion carries. Thank you. By way of new business, the finance director, we have 5 applicants. You've received the update from the town administrator on the plan process. And are there any further questions regarding that process? Hearing none, then the new business 2 is discussion and consideration of an application filing by the Beach Commission for repairs to South Shore Beach. This item was placed on the agenda in anticipation of the Beach Commission coming forward with a request of the council. They have, at this point, chosen not to do that. Therefore, there is no item. I'm ready to pass on to the next matter unless there's any questions. Communication item 1 then is a report from the tax assessor requesting abatement of 1 item based upon a consent judgment of the court.
Councilman Mataronis, I did not have a chance to talk to the tax assessor on this. but this was a court judgment, so I think it needs to be allowed. The only problem is on the front page at the bottom where it says abatements. It says see attached list totaling $1,710.11. And in fact, I believe that 1,000 shouldn't be in there because I believe it's only $710.11. So if that's the abatement, if that is the abatement, then I'll make the motion to approve it.
I'll second it, Counselor Golembeski.
The motion has been made and seconded to approve the abatement of $710.11 as proposed in the report from the assessor. Is there further discussion?
I just, Council Mataronis, I just want to bring that to the clarification. It was 1,710 on the front page. So just as long as the abatement is the actual abatement of $710.11, that's fine.
If
Thank
you
you.
look on your second page of that
Yes.
form, it does clarify at 710.
Yes, I do see that, but I didn't want any ambiguity to come forward with what the first page said. I did see that, Carol.
Yeah.
I just wanted to-
I'll just make sure that the assessor signs off on the amendment on her front page.
Very good, thank you.
A fine catch, sir, and it is recorded in the motion. The motion is for $710.11. Are you ready to vote? Counselor Anderson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Mushin votes aye, 5-0, the motion carries. Thank you. Thank you for the correction. The next item of business is a request from Bruce Elwell doing business as Earl's Service Station and Trolley Ice Cream for 2 licenses, victualling and holiday sales. And in addition, Mr. Elwell has submitted the mobile food establishment application.
Councilman Mataronis, I'll make a motion to approve all the applications he's put forward. I think he needs as much town help as he can to stay a viable business, so I'll approve the applications.
Oh, Counselor Golembeski, I'll second that, and I assume Counselor Mataronis means with all the CDC guidelines and all that other stuff in place.
With all state and town regulations adhered to.
The motion then is made and seconded to approve the request for 2 licenses and the mobile food establishment application, subject to all external requirements. Is there any further discussion? Then asking for a vote, Counselor Anderson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Mushin votes aye. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you. The next item is a request from Weatherlow Farms LLC of Westport to hold a mobile merchandise establishment permit, what we call a mobile vendor, in our definition of the term, a mobile vendor license, in order to do the following: to sell flowers from a farm in Westport in the town of Little Compton. I would ask that we task the solicitor to look at this carefully in terms of its cross-state implications. The request is fairly straightforward and would be so in a condition other than where we are now, but I'm concerned about the fact that we'd be authorizing something to
It
come
is totally
from-
illegal.
Could you repeat
Counselor,
that,
I'm
please?
sorry.
Counselor Golembeski, I can't hear the solicitor. What did he say?
Totally illegal.
It's illegal for us to grant the license to a Massachusetts firm to sell flowers from their farm in our town?
Yes.
The person is a resident of Little Compton. The farm is in Westport, Massachusetts. the distinction. I acknowledge that the solicitor's input is necessary. I would like to take this to him and get him to opine on it.
I'll move before granting this license. We pass it by the solicitor and get his opinion on it before, and then just bring it back at a subsequent meeting.
Council Mataronis, I would have liked to have a little bit more information on this. I mean, I don't see where she plans on selling. Obviously, I think we're going to have an influx of tourists this year due to the virus. And I mean, she just can't set up on any corner that she wants, or any straightaway, or definitely not in front of anybody's house. So if she would come back and let us know if it is in fact, decides that it's in fact that it is legal, that we need a little bit more information about what her plan is, where she's going to set up. I mean, the mobile food establishments generally are either at South Shore Beach or at the Chicken Barbecue or something like that. They're not on any road or any corner or anything like this. I don't have a problem with it. I think we need to help the farmers as much as we can, especially with what's going on.
If I may, we have a motion with no second. The motion is
I'll second the motion.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going to ask that you consider my proposal that I take this matter to the solicitor, get his advice on how to proceed, and then return with what you just said. That is I don't think there's a sense of urgency here that we need to approve this
Therefore,
tonight.
act within my opinion as soon as you get it.
I'm sorry. Would you say that again, please?
You'll have an opinion within 24 hours, and then you can act within that opinion within 24 hours.
Is there then a motion for me to seek the solicitor's opinion on this issue and take action accordingly?
I believe that's the motion I made, Council Golembeski, was to seek the opinion of the solicitor and then come back at the next meeting for a vote on it.
Council Mataronis, it's either going to be a yes or no, so why don't we just allow the...
Is there a second to the motion, sir?
Second.
Thank you. Now, please.
My thought was, instead of bringing it back again in the next meeting, which if that's what the council wants to do, that's fine, but it's either going to be a yes or no from the solicitor, so why don't we allow the council president to act on the solicitor's advice and let this young lady or this farm know what the decision is.
This is Councilmember,
Yes.
Councilmember Anderson. If I understand the motion by Paul as seconded, this would wait on the solicitor's advice and then come back to us at the next meeting. I support that. I will support that motion and that procedure for a couple of reasons. This means of approving these kinds of mobile establishments is based, as I understand it, under our quite new ordinance. We have relatively little experience in this, and this kind of application under these circumstances raises a number of questions that I would feel more comfortable having some further discussion about, especially under current circumstances. So I appreciate Gary's concern, but I do think we want to see and have the solicitor's advice in front of us, understand what we're doing with regard to our new mobile merchandise establishment licensing process, and what ability, if anything, we have now under that process to put any conditions on, like Gary says, whether we're sort of confined by the conditions we've already agreed to by adopting an ordinance. So I'm going to support the motion as made by Paul.
Councilman Mataronis, I second that motion, so that'll be the motion to go forward.
Does the solicitor have a comment to make? I see that you're, I'm sorry, we're not getting any audio.
I think.
Motion then before us is,
I have spoken with a number of the people in the state, and we need to be flexible. We certainly don't want to hurt our people that are in Little Compton, nor do we want to infect our people in Little Compton. But almost all day, people have been calling me from the state about Little Compton, which is kind of a pioneer. So it's very interesting. But I think we can accommodate this because it's good for the town.
all right, thank you.
Councilman Martian, why don't we vote on Councilor Golembeski's motion that I seconded?
That is my intention, sir. Thank you. The motion then before us is to refer to the solicitor, then return to a subsequent meeting of this council in order to approve or disapprove the request of the citizen. Are you ready to vote?
Yes.
Councilor Anderson.
Aye.
Councilor Golembeski.
Aye.
Councilor Mataronis.
Aye.
Councilor Moore.
Aye.
Councilor Mushin votes aye. The motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Bob, may I ask that we don't wait for another meeting? Can't the town president and the town manager just act upon our advice quickly? I don't want to put this off for 2 weeks.
We just took a vote.
Okay, fine.
The next item of business is a request for the town to recognize May 17th to the 23rd as EMS Week in Little Compton. I've included in your package a proposed proclamation, and I would solicit a motion to approve the EMS Week proclamation for the week of May 17th.
Councilor Mataronis, motion to approve.
Councilor Golembeski, second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there discussion? We'll take a roll call vote of the approval of the motion. Councilor Anderson.
Aye.
Councilor Golembeski.
Aye.
Councilor Mataronis.
Aye.
Councilor Moore.
Aye.
Councilor Mushin votes aye. The ayes carry 5-0. The motion carries. And in the midst of all of what we're doing, certainly nothing could be more appropriate than recognizing the EMS personnel with which we are blessed in this town. Item 5 of communication is a copy of a resolution from Barrington Town Council supporting a House bill and a Senate bill regarding large capacity feeding device ban act of 2020 relating to large capacity ammunition magazines.
Councilor Mataronis, would it be possible to write our own resolution in support of this? I think it's a good bill. Give it to our representatives, local representatives.
It is possible.
That would be my motion then.
Councilman Moore, I'll second that.
The motion is made and seconded to write a corresponding endorsement of these two bills. Is there any further discussion? Are you ready to vote?
Aye.
Councilor Anderson.
Aye.
Councilor Golembeski.
Nay.
Councilor Mataronis.
Aye.
Councilor Moore.
Aye.
Councilor Mushin votes nay. The ayes have it. It carries 3-2. The next item of business is consent calendar.
Motion. Go ahead, Paul.
All right, Councilor Golembeski, motion to place the consent calendar on file unless the council wants to pull some items to talk on them.
Councilor Mataronis, second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there further discussion? All in favor of the motion will take by roll call. Councilor Anderson.
Aye.
Councilor Golembeski.
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Mushin votes aye. The ayes have it, 5-0. The next item and last is the payment of bills.
Motion to pay the, Council Mataronis, motion to pay the bills is written and amended by the town clerk.
Counselor Golembeski, second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, Counselor Anderson,
Aye.
Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Mushin votes aye. The ayes have it. The bills are voted to be paid. Is there any further discussion?
Councilor Mataronis, I'd like to thank the town clerk for putting this together, and I'd like to thank all the people that are watching from Zoom. It's a new feature for all of us, so I think it's good, and I think kudos really go to the town clerk's staff.
Amen.
Thank you.
And could I add, Councilor Anderson, on that point, that for the first time, the town clerk has been able to include on our town website the packet of information that the council sees. So that is now available to the public. So that's also a lot of work, much appreciated, but I think helpful to the town to know what we're doing. So I appreciate Carol's effort in that realm as well.
Thank you.
I'll just
Councilor
make
Mataronis,
one,
motion to adjourn.
Counselor Golembeski, I'll second.
The motion has been made to adjourn. Is there further discussion? Counselor Anderson,
Aye.
Counselor Golembeski,
Aye.
Counselor Mataronis,
Aye.
Counselor Moore,
Aye.
Counselor Mushin votes aye. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned, and we are very grateful for the participation that we've seen from the public and from the council.
Good night, all.
Thank you.
Gary,
See you
this is
later.
Roger. Where'd you get your hair cut?
My daughter cut it.
Okay.